come alive. It's so cool to be alive. I don't care what you think about me, 'cause I'm living life.
Too far, get the grind. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she winning aunts. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you have swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't shining like it's neon.
What is going on, all about the Birds Nation? This is Birds, Beers, and BS, your normal co-host on here on the All About the Birds Network. Peanut, myself, Eagle, Jeff Warner. We appreciate everyone that tunes into the program and continue our great success. Peanut,
right.
I would say, how you been?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Feeling a little refreshed on this Saturday night. Usually we do this on a Friday, so it's a little bit of a change of scenery. I'm joined with my friend right now, Party Doll Dave. Party Doll Dave, say hi. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the shit show, everyone.
2 minutes in, and it's already a freaking train wreck, as I would put it. But so we have a great show for you guys this evening. A lot to get into since last week's program. We'll, of course, dive into Carson Wentz did speak to the media. They have made the trade official this week between the Philadelphia Eagles and Indianapolis Colts. We'll discuss what Carson Wentz had to say in that press conference, as well as Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman spoke to the media on the current situation of the Philadelphia Eagles and their future heading into 2021 season. But first off, we'll start it off. Also, of course, we'll talk about Zack Ertz at the latest with him and the trade front with him, but we'll dive in real quickly. The Eagles free agency has officially begun, and like I said last week, we expected if you were expecting a splash, you're getting a trickle right now. The Philadelphia Eagles really have not done much in free agency. They did have a little bit of a glimmering hope with the signing of Anthony Harris, safety from the Minnesota Vikings, who has played well the past couple of years. He is 29-year-old safety, did lead the league in interceptions in 2019. He was considered one of the top free agents on the market. They did sign him. Let me see the information. I know it was a one-year deal. 1 year, $5 million contract. Agent Drew Rosenhaus told ESPN's Adam Schefter. He did become an unrestricted free agent after the safety wasn't able to reach a long-term deal with the Vikings. And I would say it's an upgrade. I would say it's small moves. And like I brought up last week, the Eagles were not going to be big players in free agency market. Nope. They just in the financial state at this moment right now, they cannot go and overpay players. There's a reason why they're restructuring these aging veterans that get under the cap and keep these guys, because they can't dump the whole team. Like I have said before, they have to go into next season still trying to be a competitive football team. And right now, teams are overpaying. You look at some of these deals. Of course, the Eagles now have lost cornerback Jalen Mills. He did sign with the New England Patriots for a 4-year, $24 million deal. I do not know what the hell the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick think of Jalen Mills, but they obviously feel very highly of him if they're willing to give him that type of long-term commitment and that type of money.
Is he signed as a safety, or is he signed as a quarterback?
It doesn't matter. Belichick's going to find some type of freaking way to make him an all-pro. That's typically
He'll be in Hawaii.
I'll say that's typically what happens with the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. For instance, like I brought up on the All About the Birds weekly report this past week, you look at a guy like Patrick Chung, who excelled at Belichick, got paid in free agency, comes here, and he's an absolute disaster.
Yep.
Leaves us, goes back to New England with Bill Belichick, and finds a way to excel.
Son of a bitch.
But of course, the big team had, like I bring up the Patriots. They've been spending money left and right. I like I brought up on the show this past week. Belichick is pissed off. The fact that his former quarterback has won a Super Bowl without him, and he's been able to get some of these big name free agents and overpay. They of course signed Jonnu Smith, the tight end. They signed Hunter Henry, the tight end. So you expect a lot of different schemes and different two tight end sets that Belichick's going to work with. And they bring back Cam Newton, who in Carolina, when he was with the Panthers, he was a guy that relied a lot on the security blanket from his tight ends, especially Greg Olsen. So the fact that he gets two quality, skilled players at that position, and then signs a guy like Jalen Mills, they've been signing guys left and right. I saw when the New England Patriots are going to run out of money.
But you know what? It's all that money he's been saving up. They've been below the cap for years, thanks to Tom Brady and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily angry with Tom Brady, but I think Belichick is a competitor.
Well, no, he's not mad. He's not mad at. He's not going to be mad that his former player.
He's mad.
Well, no, he's mad, but he's not mad at Brady. Brady just goes out there and doing his job. He's a quarterback. He's a competitor. You can't fault the guy. I'm sure he's happy for him, but we always, when it came to the Patriots and the Patriots with Belichick and Brady, we always discussed who's the smarter of the two. Is Brady doing as good as he does because of Belichick, or is Belichick a genius because of Brady? Because there was times when that one season when Tom Brady got lost earlier in the year and Matt Castle filled in and he played well. And we keep on talking how Belichick is this guru and he's a great football mind, which he definitely is, but
he didn't look like that this season.
Well, you can't fault him this year. The fact that with COVID, I think like 80% of their starters on the defensive side of the football
they opted out
because they didn't want to risk playing with a COVID season. And of course, Cam Newton, you only can expect so much from him. Some days he's Superman, some days he's a dud. So
he dealt with injuries too. He's been dealing with injuries.
But as you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know. I know we discussed they still, I feel, need a veteran receiver.
Right.
They still need some offensive line help, which I don't know what's much out there. Of course, that we continue to say they need a linebacker. They probably need another cornerback, and that's the thing. They signed Anthony Harris, who plays safety, which is great, but
a drop in the bucket.
It wasn't much. A 1 year, $5 million contract, which. A lot of these deals you're going to see this in free agency. You're seeing
prove it deals,
but also there's not a long-term commitment. A lot of these guys that are signing are only like 2-3 year deals. It's because by the time they're done with that contract, they're still young enough. They're still in their prime where they can cash in. Teams aren't throwing out major money, except huge marquee free agents, which we'll discuss that the rest of the NFC East has made some improvements. So we'll dive into that and see where the Philadelphia Eagles stand after all the Cowboys, the Washington football team, and the Giants all made improvements this week for their football club. But
yes, they did.
I know it's frustrating as an Eagles fan. You sit here and you're a 4-win football team. I know you're in rebuild mode, but you still have that feeling, or that you still have that.
That fire,
boss. You still have that feeling in the back of your mind, or your thought in the back of your mind, like, hey, can Howie pull something off? Can they make some type of improvement to this football team? And can they fill these holes to try to surround players around Jalen Hurts? Because all we've been hearing the last couple weeks has been that Jeffrey Lurie has told his people that they need to build around Jalen Hurts.
Right.
So you expect them to make some type of move, but at least to get him targets on the offensive side of the football.
Right.
You still have a lot of question marks at the wide receiver position. You go with Jalen Reagor. I'll say he's coming off a subpar rookie campaign.
Right.
Then you have the debacle, whatever the hell happened with Marquise Goodwin, who is now no longer a Philadelphia Eagle. Well, they released him.
Oh, okay.
Apparently what happened with that, from what I've read, which this is a strange thing, the fact that the Eagles were able to get a 7th round pick back for him is astonishing, because apparently what happened was when they traded for him last year, he was supposed to come in and signed the contract.
Right.
But then with COVID happening, he said,
I
opt out for the year. So
Okay.
the contract he originally agreed to was supposed to move to this year.
Right.
But since he never signed the contract,
It never happened.
it never officially happened. The deal never. Everything was null and void and held up. It's something weird with when it came to the NFL and the NFLPA when they came to agreement once COVID hit on what they were going to be doing with these contracts and with these players that did not feel comfortable playing. So the Eagles were somewhat fortunate because I believe they were able to save like $4.5 million against the salary cap,
Not bad.
Yeah, we need a veteran receiver, but I honestly felt Marquise Goodwin wasn't the answer.
Nah.
A guy that was plagued with injuries. Yeah, he has some speed, but he was a guy that never really was feared by opposing defenses.
It was a one-trick pony.
Essentially.
You know what I
I don't know. I don't have his numbers off the top of my head, but he never eclipsed like 1,000 yards in a season. I think his best season was like 600 or 700 yards.
Yeah.
I believe with the 49ers. But
He was a home run hitter. He was one of those once per game he'd give you the 20 yards that you needed or something, or hit the home run.
Yeah, but as we move into week 2, I do expect the Eagles to be not players, but you're going to see a lot more interest in some of these free agents that are trying to figure out what their market value is.
Right.
You look at some of the deals that have signed at other positions, and they're going to be like, okay, I'm better than this guy, or I'm comparable to this guy. This is similar to what I want to get.
Right.
A lot of these aging veterans, like a T.Y. Hilton, because the wide receivers are coming off the board left and right. A couple of guys that we expected the Eagles to possibly look at are off the board. Emmanuel Sanders. A couple others. Also, it was announced today that our division rival, the New York Giants, have signed Kenny Golladay to a big lucrative deal. So the Giants just continue to get better. They get another weapon for Daniel Jones. They signed Kyle Rudolph, a tight end, who is a guy that has been
Saquon's coming back.
Yeah, I'll say he's hit or miss, but I don't know. I honestly, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're gonna make low tier moves.
Yeah.
I would say they're gonna bring in guys for depth purposes. They're not gonna be in a lot of these big names, and the big names that they do possibly bring in, it's gonna be short term deals.
Right.
They just have to fill some holes, get some veterans on this roster, get some leadership.
Right.
So we'll see. And I think they're waiting to see what these players are going to be asking for, because if some of these players, they're going to be the team's going to be telling them, look, you take what we offer, or you might not be playing this season.
That's true,
because teams don't have the money to expend on aging, injury prone possible.
Except for Bill Belichick.
Belichick
is strapped with cash right now.
Well, he needs to.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going against a division that has Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, who have shown to be the class of that division right now.
Yep.
The Jets, you don't know what's going to happen with them in the draft to improve that roster.
Yep.
And then the Miami Dolphins, they were to some people could have been a playoff team last season. So
I agree.
They're definitely a team. I'll say that division right now, Bill Belichick, as much success as he has had in that division, he's not the king of the mountain anymore, at least at this time.
He's looking from the outside in, but that's when Bill Belichick is best, though, man. I'd be afraid of Bill Belichick right now.
But there's still one uncertainty as we go further into the Eagles off season, and that what is going to happen with tight end Zach Ertz?
Oh, it hurts.
Look, I would say we kind of expected that he's eventually going to get moved. We keep on hearing he's going to get moved. He's going to get moved. He's going to get moved. It's going to happen any day now. This week might be the week.
Yeah.
And we keep on hearing reports that the Eagles are giving Zach Ertz and his agent to talk to teams and try to find the right partnership for him and for the Eagles to make some type of deal.
Right.
But apparently, according to reports, this has been going on. They gave him permission back in January when the season ended, because Zach Ertz, you saw at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You saw at that press conference, he knew his time was up. He was literally in tears because he knew his time in the city of Philadelphia, where he has started his career, played in a Super Bowl, won us a Super Bowl, played his heart for the city, was most likely and probably definitely coming to an end.
Yep.
And here we are sitting in almost the end of March, and he's still on this roster. So my question for you, Pina, is do you think Zach Ertz is still going to be a Philadelphia Eagles come the start of the season?
I don't think he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle, but what I'm afraid of is I feel like Howie's going to flub this somehow, and we're just going to have to end up releasing him and not getting anything for him. Would I like to see him back next year as a Philadelphia Eagle? Absolutely. Zach Ertz is a plus no matter what. But you're right. Zach Ertz, that day he knew that was his this is his last year. I don't think we can get trade capital for him at this point because I don't think Zach Ertz wants to go anywhere except for where he wants to go to, and he's going to give us the old finger and say, you know what, release me. So
it's not happening.
I think
Howie,
release him, man.
Zach Ertz is not going to be that type of guy, I don't feel, that's going to be a major distraction. Like, at least in the locker room or in the public eye, in the media. Everyone knows he wants a new contract, but he has said that whoever he's traded to, he will play under that deal. So he is due, I believe, $10 million, something along those lines. It's a decent amount of money,
right?
But no team's gonna want to give a 30-plus-year-old tight end a long-term deal with more guaranteed money after he had a pretty subpar 2020 campaign.
He was injured.
Well, yeah, he was injured, but that's not. He's a guy that always played through injury. He's a very tough player.
Plus, he had Carson Wentz throwing the ball to him.
But mentally, he was a guy that he would just check out of games.
Yeah,
you would see like he would not run routes fully.
Right,
he would not go for a pat or go for a ball. A pass that was thrown his way because he might have thought someone was behind him or whatever. Alligator armed it, or he dropped. There was quite a drop passes. So
do you think he's washed up, or do you think he's still got a couple years left in him?
He's not washed up, I don't believe. I'll say this is a guy that's still coming off a couple seasons ago where he had 100-plus catches. Before last season, he was one of the most productive tight ends in all football.
Right.
Combining over 200 receptions and over, I think, 2,000 yards in 2 seasons, which I know everyone in City Philadelphia feels that Zach Ertz is a top-tier tight end, and maybe a couple of years ago he was, but he's not on the level of Travis Kelce and Greg Kittle.
Okay.
He can be a productive tight end, but he's a guy that can get open in space, maybe get you a little bit yards after the catch, but he's a very limited tight end. He's not a guy that's a good blocker. He's a pass catcher, and the fact that we couldn't rely on him as a pass catcher, and some people believe that him and Wentz were just out of sync.
Yeah.
There was times where you would feel that maybe Wentz lost confidence in Ertz a little bit. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, but I know some people might feel that way, that because there was times where he would go Ertz's way and he would drop a pass or some type of miscommunication on a route, and you just not see Carson Wentz go his way ever again, which it could have been Wentz. It could have been a lot of the scheme, because honestly, what other option and what other weapon on this offense really feared opposing defenses? Jalen Reagor, hell no. Alshon Jeffrey, no way.
Hell no.
Deshaun Jackson barely freaking played.
He was broken.
The only option you really had on that football team was Zach Ertz. So a lot of defenses were probably finding ways to take him out of the game. Which
I hear you. So you think he lost faith in Ertz, and maybe that's part of the whole breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Think about the season that we had. If the person you trusted the most is now the person you can't trust anymore, no wonder why Wentz was having the year he had. It's all Zach Ertz's fault.
But honestly, I'll say from what hearing Howie said, he was asked about, is Zach Ertz going to be dealt? And his response was, it's a good one. And it's true.
Right.
He said that the same thing with Carson Wentz. The reason they dealt Carson Wentz is because they felt it was best for Carson, it was best for the Eagles, and it was best for the Indianapolis Colts when it came to compensation. So his response was very similar. He came out and said it has to make sense for both parties involved. It has to make sense for the Eagles, and it has to make sense for the team they're trading him to. And that's why I feel the Eagles are standing tough. They're trying to get the most out of these players, which I get it. That's what you want from your franchise. As much as we criticize Howie Roseman, that's the one thing that he does somewhat do right. He does stand his ground for the most part and try to hold off to try to get the best compensation to help his franchise and the best value of his players.
Absolutely agree.
Which That's what he's supposed to do, but
it's not working this year for some reason.
It's not going to happen. The teams around the league know the time of Zach Ertz in the Philadelphia is over. The Eagles have no leverage whatsoever. And apparently there's teams that have been interested. According to reports, there are teams that have called the Eagles and expressed interest in tight end Zach Ertz, which...
what do you think? Too low there, like 4th round, 5th round? And do you think the Eagles won a 3rd round?
The Eagles probably won at least a 3rd round pick for Zach Ertz. But unfortunately, teams are not going to trade a mid-level pick for a 30-year-old tight end, like I said, on a down year coming into this season. You don't know mentally or physically what type of player Zach Ertz is going to be coming into 2021. Because remember, he missed the last few games of the season. Either for mental issues or because he was hurt, whatever the hell it was. We honestly don't know. But
he hasn't been the same since that injury through the middle where Wentz let him out the drive. Remember that?
Yeah.
Ever since that, he has not been the same player.
Well, he's been pulling a Todd Pinkston. He's been doing alligator arms. He's been scared. He got shook, bro.
Shout out to Todd Pinkston.
Hey, he's coaching somewhere, surprisingly. But
oh, shit.
I honestly feel if the Eagles do not get the right compensation, Zach Ertz is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle for 2021. You're going to see.
I'm okay with that.
And after this year, then if he has a great year, okay, then give him a small extension. If not, move on from him because you have Dallas Goedert in the wing, sitting on the sideline. Even though we do expect Sirianni to run a lot of 2 tight end sets, which he said in his press conference, which we'll dive into in a little bit here on Birds, Beers, and BS, that he's not running one similar system or one system because in his eyes, he feels that defenses and opposing teams, they have game tape of that. And they're going to find ways to shut down that scheme because that's all you run. That's why you go into each game differently, which I know everyone wants to criticize Sirianni. He's not the greatest public speaker, but the dude has some football knowledge, and he has passion, which we love here in the city of Philadelphia. The only thing I care about, I don't care if he's a good public speaker. I care about if he can win his football games.
So what do you think? Do you think he's going to switch it up? Because it's easier said than done. Everyone's like, I'll just switch it up every time. Well, you still have to have players to execute the plays. So if you're switching things up all the time, you're adding more to those players' plate. I have mixed emotions when it comes to Nick Sirianni. I love what he says, but how, Nick? You got a bunch of young players. What are you going to do? Teach them everything? It doesn't make sense to me, man. What I like to see is that I want to see Zach Ertz come back. Honestly, I really do. One more season with Zach Ertz wouldn't hurt, man. Trust me. Richard Rodgers is solid, but he's not Zach Ertz.
Well, he's a free agent. I can't.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, him and.
That's right.
Rodgers and the other tight end, I believe, are free. I think they brought one of them back. I can't remember. Everything's a freaking blur with this football team. And honestly, it's my, not job, but since I'm a huge fan, I want to follow and keep up with it. But sometimes you're just so worn out. You don't give a crap about your football. You don't care, especially this offseason. It's going to be a very quiet offseason, especially in free agency. And
the draft, though, should be exciting, man. Hopefully. The draft might bring you back in.
That's the only thing that's keeping this offseason somewhat relevant. And that's the only reason why people are excited somewhat about this offseason, because not too often with this franchise that we eventually have a top 10 pick. The last time that happened, we traded up for Carson, but we didn't start off in the top 10. We had of course, Howie had to work his magic and work his way up. So, and there's going to be a lot of options, and there's a lot of big playmakers and a lot of potential studs in this draft that gets you excited because look, the one thing that the Eagles have been lacking the last few seasons has been drafting and developing talent through the draft.
Pretty much everything that's important to sustain a football team.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Which is why we're here. Look how depressed Jeffrey is. Like, this is the most depressed I've ever seen him, too. We talk football all the time, but today he's just down in the dirt, man.
Well, I'm not down in the dirt. I'm just trying to... Look, the past couple of shows, I basically rambled on, so I'm trying to be a little bit more...
subdued.
Coherent, professional, and I'm trying to put on a better show. I would say hear all about the Birds. We always want to look to improve.
True.
And here, I'm trying to find my way. So don't slack me, dude. I was doing such a good job until you start giving me crap. Now you want me? Whatever, bro. Sorry, it's what this franchise and this organization does to me.
Yeah.
The fact that we're a 4-win football team and we can't find ways to improve our roster. But
True.
We want to appreciate everyone that's been tuning in to Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network, exclusively on our YouTube channel. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, give us a comment, tell us what you think of Birds, Beers, and BS and every one of our programs here on All About the Birds Network. Follow us on Twitter at AAT Birds as well as Instagram, and make sure to give us a like on Facebook to check out all our content that we have daily here on All About the Birds. From Mondays, we have Chips and Dish. Tuesday, we have Fairways to Heaven, the golf show, and there's a very special guest coming up, I believe, not this week, but the following week.
Nice.
With Jason and with Phil. That's going to be a great show for them. Of course, our program on Wednesdays, the AAT Birds Weekly Report, the flagship show here on All About the Birds. And, of course, Friday nights here exclusively here on YouTube, Birds, Beers, and BS. And Saturdays, the AAT Birds Draft Talk until the draft has concluded with Tommy Barnett and Johnny Ulecka. So make sure to check out all those programs. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe, because without your support, we are nothing.
Pretty much.
So we want to continue to do this for you, to give you guys some great content.
Yep.
And if you're ever interested in writing, make sure to hit me up. You can follow our website at www.atbirds.com for all the latest on the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as upcoming draft prospects, as we have been hitting a lot of pro days the last couple weeks. And the upcoming weeks, we have a lot of a lot of articles possibly that are going to be posted from a bunch of pro days that Johnny and one of our writers, Adam Mack, are going to be involved with. So make sure to check that out, and check out the YouTube channel by subscribing.
Yep.
All our shows are on there. So if you ever miss a program, it's up there. Check it out. We appreciate the support. But,
yes, sir.
And also, we would like to thank our sponsor of All About the Birds, Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant in, hang on, I just freaking had it.
It's in Allentown.
There's the address, 6750 Iroquois Trail, Suite 7 in Allentown. Technically, what do they consider that? Coonsville? Or?
No, that's Allentown. That's Allentown, right off of Tillman Street.
I'll say you can check them out online.
Tell Caesar we sent you.
At vinnyspizzapa.com. Great people there, some great food. Pizza, strombolis, hoagies, very delicious, very friendly people. Tell them that Birds, Beers, and BS have sent you.
Yep.
Just support it helps support us, and helps support our spot by supporting our sponsors.
That's right.
Give them a call if you're in the Allentown area at 610-395-2300. Again, 610-395-2300. Again, the website, vinnyspizzapa.com. And again, check them over at the Old Town Shops off Iroquois Trail in Allentown. So appreciate all the guys there and the great job by helping us and supporting the Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network.
Yes, sir.
But as we move forward, there's still a lot to get to. If we want to real quick, we'll dive into a little bit of the NFC East and the way the teams have been improving for the the other teams in the division, and how it affects the Philadelphia Eagles. And like I brought up earlier, the New York Giants, you look at some of their moves. They're giving Daniel Jones some weapons. They signed Kenny Galladay from the Detroit Lions to a big deal. So they get a playmaker there for Daniel Jones to go along with Saquon Barkley. They signed tight end Kyle Rudolph, who's been inconsistent over the last couple of seasons for the Minnesota Vikings, but he can be still a big play threat.
Red zone.
You look at the Dallas Cowboys, they signed safety Keno O'Neal from the Atlanta Falcons. They re-signed, of course, Dak Prescott. They're re-signing a bunch of their players from a year ago, and getting a couple of middle-tier free agents as well. And then, of course, the Washington football team finally getting their quarterback by signing Ryan Fitzpatrick, and, of course, Curtis Samuel, the wide receiver, to go along with McLaurin. So and that's the one thing that's a little bit disappointing when it comes to this offseason. Because you look at the rest of these teams in the division that are improving, making signings, getting talent to improve their roster. You look at the Washington football team. Sadly, that was a team that won the division last year with a quarterback carousel between Alex Smith and Heineke and all these other guys that had to step in, and they still found a way to win that division. And the one weakness that we brought up on this show, as well as the other shows on All About the Birds Network, is the inexperience and the question mark at the quarterback position. And they get Fitzmagic, which I know a lot of people are up and down when it comes to Fitzmagic. He can be a good player, he can be a bad player, but
he's a solid player, man.
He's better than what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you even if he's a game manager, I still feel he's a better option than a 37-year-old Alex Smith, who at the end of the season, in that last game against the Eagles and that playoff game, I love him to death. I commend him for making the jump and the effort and trying to fight his way back to just play the game he loves one more time. From everything that he overcame, the 17 surgeries, he almost lost his life, almost lost his leg, and he's still able to go out there and overcome it all.
Not the same Alex Smith.
No, of course he wasn't the same Alex Smith, but he still helped him win that division.
Yeah, he did.
Granted, it's the NFC East, and I understand we're a crappy division, but they still won that. And then you look at the Dallas Cowboys. As much as you hate the Dallas Cowboys, and trust me, I hate them with a passion, and I have to live with one every goddamn day of my freaking life.
That's right. You hear that, Jenna? You hear that?
And coming from parents of Cowboys fans and a dad that was a Steelers fan, you cannot deny the talent that the Dallas Cowboys have on their roster. And just by improving with Dak Prescott, if Prescott doesn't tear his knee up last season, you might be talking them as the NFC East champions, because I understand that defense was not living up to the hype that a lot of people believe. And the offensive line basically broke down. And he's, of course, behind a bad offensive line, Ezekiel Elliott didn't have the season that people expected him to have. But once again, it just shows how important the quarterback position is in this league. You go from a Dak Prescott to an Andy Dalton, and nothing against Andy Dalton. He's been a star in this league for how long?
Yeah, fuck Andy Dalton.
I'm trying to be nice, bro. But he's no Dak Prescott. And he just makes that team so much better. Granted, it was a crazy deal that the Dallas Cowboys gave him. I believe he accounts for about, I think, like 23% of their salary for one player this season, and it's a deal they can get out of over the next couple of years, I believe. But if they're paying him a lot of money, they have faith in him for him to be their franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I would. I think he's look. I'm not a Dallas fan at all, but Dak's solid, man, and he's dealt with adversity. He's one of those guys that can deal with adversity. You know, it's been a while since we had a quarterback that can deal with adversity. So it's nice. Listen, I'm not a Dallas fan, but it's nice to see that someone is willing to go out there and build teams around quarterbacks the way they should. My question is, where is all their money coming from? I mean, you just signed Cooper, you just signed Zeke, you just signed Dak. Like,
well, yeah, they're strapped. They're gonna be strapped. Well, the way it's the way the NFL is able to reach, the way you can fingle. There we go. And there, Jeffism there for you.
Fingle.
I'm trying to think of the word. Basically, the way they can construct. There we go. The way they can construct the contracts.
Okay.
There's ways to front load it, back load it, have it equal. Unlike in Madden, where you just sign a deal and he gets paid a certain amount over the contract that you pay. There's ways in the NFL, which is why the Eagles were in the situation they were in, because they kept on restructuring or backloading contracts because they were to stay under the cap for that year.
We had to pay the piper eventually.
Exactly. So, but with the salary cap going to be going through the roof next season. Once COVID is over with, fans are allowed back in, the revenue is going to go through the roof, and now that new huge media deal that the NFL has signed, that I can't remember what year it takes place, but I think it's 2023.
Nice.
But we're basically the entire NFL is going to be on streaming platforms.
Nice.
You're going to have Tubu for Fox. You're going to have Peacock for NBC. ESPN's back in the mix. You're going to have games on ESPN Plus. DirecTV and the Sunday NFL ticket is going to be no more in a couple seasons, and I'm freaking thrilled. For a guy that I used to have the Sunday ticket, and it was the best thing ever when it came to watching football games on a Sunday, where you don't have to watch a freaking commercial. You can flip between 6 different games going on at once.
Right.
And now with them going to all these streaming platforms, when that sucks, who the hell's going to need cable anymore?
No one.
I'll say the cable companies are the ones going to have to worry about all this.
We're going to have to share each other's passwords and shit just to watch
Don't say that out loud. But and then of course Thursday Night Football eventually is going to be exclusively on Amazon Prime. So, and besides your local games, so if you're in the Philadelphia market, you'll still be able to watch the Eagles games if they play Thursdays locally on NBC 10, I believe, or one of the local Philly stations. Gotcha. But I just don't. It gets you discouraged to get back on track when it comes to the NFC East and free agency so far. It just gets you discouraged that the rest of the division is continuing to find ways to improve their rosters, and here we are sitting like lame ducks. And don't get me wrong, Anthony Harris, it's a quality signing. He's a ball hawk. He's a guy that he can be a playmaker for us, and could be if given the opportunity. It just tells you, what does that say about the health of Rodney McLeod? Do they not have faith in Kayvon Wallace? How is he going to fit in? Granted, it's a low tier deal, $5 million. Like we keep on bringing up, it's more a prove it type of contract where a lot of these players are betting on themselves. And they're going to go into next season, ball out hopefully, and they get paid the next year when the salary cap is through the roof. Right. But I understand we're not there to be a Super Bowl contending team or even a playoff contending team, but as a fan, you still want to win, man. You still want to see some type of improvement from your roster, and I'm just trying not to get. I'm not trying to get down on myself get down on this team too early, because we have the draft to look forward to. We do. We have the 6th overall pick. We have 2 second rounders. We have a third round. We have 4 picks in the first 100 selections. That's not bad. So, and we have 11 selections, which we need to get some young talent. But right now, after this deal, we might be in the cellar of the NFC East right now. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I understand the New York Giants have a question mark and uncertainty when it comes to Daniel Jones as their quarterback, but they're getting a stud running back with Saquon Barkley coming back. I understand off a major injury still, but he's still young. He is a guy that can overcome the adversity and go out there and ball out. They get some playmakers for Daniel Jones on offense, and I feel they're going to try to build that defense. They tried getting some free agents last year, and I feel they're going to try to fill the rest of those holes along the offensive line and the defense through the draft. So I sit here right now in the end of March, and I hate to say it, but we might, like I said, we're at the bottom of the NFC East right now. You still have to give the Washington football team credit. They improved at the quarterback position. They signed one of the best pass rushing defense in the league with Chase Young leading the helm. One of our best coaches too. Yeah, Ron Rivera. I would say, despite the story, I would say before that, I know everyone wants to give him credit because he overcame cancer, which I'm awesome for him. But even before that situation, he was still a hell of a coach. He still took, I would say, he still made the Carolina Panthers a Super Bowl team with Cam Newton. So plus his last name's Rivera. Well, way to just give out your last name. I don't care. Whatever. But and then of course the Dallas Cowboys. They're a team with Dak Prescott. If he can stay healthy. They have the playmakers there. You have Zeke, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Amari Cooper. It's a very scary division right now, and you just hope that the Eagles hopefully make the right selections in April when it comes to the NFL draft. So we'll see how everything goes there. Again, this is all about the Birds on the AAT Birds Network, exclusively on our YouTube channel. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe, and give us a comment. Let us know what you think of the program, some comments, future stuff that you want us to talk about. We're always open to suggestions, but anything. I'll say as we move forward here on Birds, Beers, and BS, there were a couple of press conferences past week as the Eagles and the Indianapolis Colts made it official as the new league year started that the Carson Wentz trade was officially done. Carson Wentz is moving to the Indianapolis Colts and become their franchise quarterback there. And it was funny. I don't know if you saw the tweets this past week from both organizations. You see the Indianapolis Colts tweeting out that they've traded for quarterback Carson Wentz with the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for whatever the hell was a third-round pick first-round pick and conditional third, whatever the hell it was. But then you had the Philadelphia Eagles go out there and say, yep, we traded Carson Wentz for this and a first-round pick. So the Eagles are getting their hopes up. The Eagles are counting their chickens before the eggs have hatched, expecting a first-round pick in return, which they should get it. I would say unless Carson breaks his leg week 1 or in training camp or in preseason,
which I hope he does,
and is out. No, you don't wish that on anyone.
On him, I do.
Okay, we'll get into Carson's press conference in a little bit, but it's just funny. They should get a first round pick, but you just never know. But
it's not going to be a first.
But
pick.
As we dive into, I don't know if you heard Sirianni and Roseman. I don't know. The reporters did their job. The reporters asked the questions they were supposed to ask.
True.
But of course, you're going to get the same typical corporate response, especially from Howie Roseman.
Of course.
And you look at some of the responses. They were asked, does Jeffrey Lurie meddle too much? We keep on hearing reports, and I apologize. I didn't have time to get any of the audio.
It's all good.
So I would have done that. I love hearing audio. I love videos. I love our listeners and our viewers to see stuff visually and physically rather than us just explaining or talking about it. But
that's what we're here for. Let's do it. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
But he said that Jeffrey has always been involved with the organization. He's always helped make decisions. And he sort of didn't place blame on Lurie, but he's like,
hold on, why would he? He's never going to do that.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's never going to do that.
Everyone from the question, people expected him to say, yeah, Jeffrey Lurie's doing too much. He's not letting me do my job. Of course, he's not going to freaking say that. Of course, the GM that has the owner wrapped around his freaking pinky, he's not going to throw him under the bus. And once again, that's still his boss. He's still the owner of the team. So I understand they had to ask some of these questions. But you're not expecting much.
You're not going to get an answer you're not going to get the answer that you want.
Exactly.
You're never going to get that.
And people were somewhat hoping that maybe, because we all know what goes behind the scenes. We know what's happening.
No, we don't. We speculate. That's what we do. Everything's speculation. We don't know what's going on.
We don't know, but some of the actions and the reports and the things that they do,
facts.
That reflects what we believe.
Facts.
So, and then of course they asked about the quarterback position, and right off the bat, Howie Roseman gives a snarky remark saying, "Well, Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback on the roster, so of course we're going to make some type of move." No shit, Sherlock. Of course you're going to make a move. You're not going to go into this season with one freaking quarterback on the roster.
You're absolutely right. Go ahead, preach.
And if you're Jalen Hurts, I would be pissed.
Hell yeah.
They just moved on from Carson Wentz. And I understand people are saying, well, the Eagles can't say they're not going to draft a quarterback or do this or do that, or it's Jalen Hurts. It's definitely his job right now. They don't want to show their hand too early because then they have no leverage. What the hell does it matter?
Yeah.
You already got rid of Carson Wentz. And honestly, we know the Eagles are not going to draft a quarterback in the first round at 6.
That's right.
And even if there's a run at quarterbacks, you're still possibly going to have 2 teams in the top 10 that are going to try to trade up to maybe above one another. And that's the Carolina Panthers and possibly the Detroit Lions.
So you think we
not the Lions, the Broncos.
Do you think we trade back?
I feel we might trade back, especially if there's a run at quarterbacks.
Yeah.
In the first, remember, we're 6th pick. If you have 4, I know some of you are speculating 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the first five selections before the Eagles select.
Right.
So even if there's 2 selections besides that, that still possibly leaves you with a Pitts, with a Chase, with a Smith, Devontae Smith, with a Patrick Surtain.
Yep.
So there's going to be options for the Eagles, and if one of these teams that need a quarterback are willing to jump above one another,
take it.
You can lobby them once against another, get more compensation, move back a couple picks, and still try to get your selection. The only thing you have to worry about, you don't go back farther than 9.
Okay.
I'll say you don't go behind.
You still want to keep the top 10. So
not just that. I'll say you have the Dallas Cowboys at 10, the Giants, I believe, at 10, Cowboys at 11. So you definitely don't want to go draft behind them and risk one of those teams taking your guy. Plus, trading outside the top 10 with that amount of talent left, you run the possibility and the risk of your guy not being there. That's the only way you trade back. If you honestly have a 99 or sorry, I would even say 100% certainty that your guy is going to be there wherever you move back. They're not trading. I understand it was like, well, trade to 15,
right?
Get even more compensation, get more draft picks, get draft picks for the future.
Yeah, you still want to stay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You're right.
Because then if they do that and they pass up on the guy that everyone wants, or some of these potential playmakers, especially on the offensive side of the football, the team is going to get scrutinized, especially Howie Roseman or Jeffrey Lurie, whoever. It will be a lose-lose situation. We're already scrutinizing them. Yep. The fact that they went with Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, or they passed on DK Metcalf for JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So, of course,
that shit still hurts.
Exactly. And there's a lot of talent in this draft.
Yeah, there is.
So, but if you're sorry, to get back to my point, we went on a little bit of tangent there, but to get back to my point at Jalen Hurts, you just traded the franchise quarterback, the guy that you gave $120 million to.
Yep.
Now you move on from the highest dead cap space in the National Football League history. And you still won't commit to the goddamn guy? We know he's going to be your starter. We know he's going to go into next season unless he's injured or he shows you he can definitely not play the quarterback position, that he's going to be your guy for 2021. You drafted him in the second round for a reason. You need to know what you have, especially moving into that 2022 draft where you have potentially 2 first-round selections and another, hopefully a deep draft class when it comes to the quarterback position.
True.
So that's why the Eagles are not drafting one this year. So just go out there and say, hey, Jalen Hurts is our guy right now. Yeah. Right. Sorry, Jalen Hurts is our – we're going to bring in a veteran. But I understand you don't want to just – coaches don't want to go into a season saying a guy is definitely my guy because you still want competition. You still want you don't want him getting too relaxed.
Yeah, but still, you're right. You got to commit, and you got to say that. It's almost like having a girlfriend. Like you go out there and they're like, "So, are you getting married to Jalen Hurts?" And the guy's like, or the girl's like, "Sorry," the girl is like, "Whatever, I don't know, whatever you're into." The girl's like, "Well, I don't know. You know, he's there, he's there, but we'll see." If you don't commit to the quarterback, and this is what bothers me about everyone saying that Jeff Lurie was wrong by saying that we have to build around our quarterback. We have to. It's a no-brainer. Like, for him to say that is what everyone else is thinking. So for Howie not to like reiterate that, it drives you up a wall. It really does. Like, what are we doing here? Why didn't we just get Fitzpatrick and have the competition, or why didn't we draft or why don't we draft quarterback and just tell people that's what we have a top pick? We don't have to. There's no smoke and mirrors here. Like, if we wanted a quarterback, we can get one. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It's depressing because I feel like my team doesn't want to commit to this quarterback, which I'm willing to commit to the quarterback as a fan. Just watching the guy, like I seen him play and I seen the way the team responds. Let's just build around him, and it's depressing. You know what? This is a depressing show. This show is pretty. Free agency has been rather depressing.
Well, the offseason in general has been depressing.
Oh my God!
I'll say, we had some drama, but at least we had something to talk about. Now we're in this lull where what's next?
Nothing.
What can the Eagles do to really try to help improve this roster and try to get back on the winning track? Right now, none of these free agents, either they're out of our price range or we're not going to be able, they're not going to be difference makers. And I'm saying we don't want to continue to bring in aging veterans just to have them, because then I'll say the whole reason we have this young talent, we need to know what we have with them. Yeah. You don't want to hinder their progression. And that's the one thing that a lot of people felt that the Eagles did last season, especially in the wide receiving core. Yep. You have Deshaun come back. You have Alshon come back from injuries. And then you take away snaps from Quez Watkins, Travis Fulgham, Hightower. So we do have a lot of young talent at the wide receiver position, and they have all shown some type of glimpse. But when you're not on that field, you're not getting those reps in. It takes time.
How do you develop?
Yeah.
How do you develop?
And once again, it's the coaching staff too. We know how bad under this regime with Howie Roseman and with Doug Peterson, how bad for the most part that we have not been able to develop our top draft picks. So hopefully under Sirianni and this new coaching staff, we're able to do that.
The word is competition. Competition.
But moving on to Sirianni a little bit, I assume that you heard at least a little bit of the press conference. And what's your impression of him after hearing him the second time? I know the first time, everyone's like, we understood he was nervous.
Right.
It was his first press conference. But that he...
What's my impression? Is his brother, like, we should have hired his brother the way he was talking. Yo, his brother has been a winner, a proven winner. What's his brother's name? What is it, like Josh Sirianni? Let's get him. What's his brother's name? Because apparently he knows how to coach. I think Nick Sirianni, he's not a good public speaker, and I'm hoping he's a super coach. Like, I'm one of those guys that is not a great speaker, but a great coach, and I'm sure he might be. I might be prematurely, like, judging him, but as a speaker, man, he should have someone, like, speak for him, like, just stand there and then hire, like hire anybody just to speak for you. Like, you just stand in the background and you have someone publicly speak for you, or just read off a prompter at this point, or don't speak at all.
Well, if you saw the interview, or when they officially announced the Carson Wentz trade, they did Sirianni. I think spoke or did an interview with PhiladelphiaEagles.com, Dave Spadaro, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at Sirianni! Look at the way he sounds. He sounds like a better public speaker." Of course he did. They prepped him. Yeah. Spadaro told him, "Hey, this is what I'm going to ask you. Make sure you have an answer for it. It's not the same when it's one-on-one, live,
like this shit, like this shit right here. We fuck up all the time." But we're not coaching a team.
But the funniest part is, you bring up his brother. The fact that Sirianni buried the one team that he apparently took to the championship game. He's like, yeah, no offense to anyone that was on that football team.
No talent.
but they weren't a talented bunch. And he still took them to the championship game. They didn't win it, but he still took them to the championship.
I respect that, though. He was honest in his evaluation of talent.
You don't say that about high school kids that freaking are playing a freaking sport. Go to the championship game and tell them you have no talent. But praise and build up your brother that he's this tremendous coach because he adjusts to his team's strengths. And he doesn't stick to one. And that was the whole point. He was asked about his philosophy and his system, and basically what he got at is his brother, who's a great coach who's retired from high school coaching. He never stuck to one system. Yeah. He always found a way to do different type of schemes, whether it's 11 personnel, 12 personnel, flicker, whatever the hell he brought up.
What was it, wing T or whatever?
Yeah, the wing T. So whatever he go out there, he didn't stick to one thing. He looked what he had as far as talent, what these guys' strengths and weaknesses were, and adjusted his game plan. And that's one thing that we hope from Sirianni, because otherwise we have the same vanilla offense that we had here with Doug Peterson over the last couple of years, where the teams knew how predictable he was. You knew when they lined up in a certain formation offensively, something similar or what they were about to do offensively from that standpoint, or you knew the reads that Carson was going to do. So
yo, we used to run the same play twice. Remember that? Yeah. There was a couple times I watched games. I'm like, all right, we just ran that play twice. Like, if Nick Sirianni can come in here and change up the philosophy of this team and make it so that it's a more camouflaged offense, then I'm all for it. Just stop letting him talk in public. Like, get him a public talker. Like, what the fuck? Like, they're slaughtering him, and I'm like, yo, why is he talking? Someone help him. Get him out of there, man. Don't even let him talk publicly anymore. From now on, talk to his lawyer. Anytime there's a game that he loses, his lawyer will be there talking to you. No more Nick Sirianni talk. I want to see it on the field. Let's go.
That's the only thing we should care about. We can criticize his public speaker, how he handles press conferences. So be it. Yeah. As long as he can win football games, gather the troops, motivate them on game day. That's all I care about. So
agreed.
Who cares how he speaks? So that's my thoughts. Give it time. It's a second press conference. Yeah. The offensive coordinators, they would have a day, but they weren't. very in-depth being in those press conferences. They aren't getting attacked with stuff. They aren't being saying, what about this? What about that?
No.
Being asked 1,000 things from reporters.
Yep.
It was most of the time, very softball questions for the most part. So
true. Very true.
We'll give them some time. It's only March. The season doesn't start till September. But I would say it was kind of funny. Also, at the same time, which some people felt that the Eagles are personally trying to delay their press conference. They were 15 minutes late because you had the Carson Wentz at 12:30 and then at 12 o'clock. But Carson Wentz did meet with the Indianapolis media as well as some former Philadelphia reporters who got to chime in as well with a couple of questions. The former Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, and he was basically asked about his time in the city of Philadelphia, and I don't know, I can't remember the exact question, but Carson Wentz came out and said that once he was benched in that Green Bay game, he knew it was probably the end of his time in Philadelphia. That it wasn't fun for him anymore because he knows once you get benched in this league, you don't know when you're going back in. He didn't know if he was going to go in for another series. He didn't a series later. He didn't know if he was going to go in the next week's game. And at that point in the season, you don't know if he was ever going to get the starting position back.
Yep.
But
I don't think it was when he got benched. I think it was when he got benched and Ertz did good.
Well, Ertz played okay. I would say that Green Bay game, Ertz played well.
I think the way the team rallied around Ertz hurt Carson Wentz. And at that point, he realized he lost the locker room. And at that point, he realized,
well, he's soft.
I can never go back. Yeah, you heard it. You're fucking soft.
Yeah.
But he lost the locker room and he knew it. And that's why he was a quitter.
But, and that kind of annoys me.
Hell yeah. As
a football player, as the quarterback, and supposedly as the leader in that Green Bay game, just because you were benched, you already were giving up hope for this team and for this franchise. And I have a lot of respect for Carson Wentz on the field and off the field.
I agree.
But to make that type of comment, what does that say about your competitiveness as a player, especially playing the quarterback position? It just showed how soft you were. And once again, it proves the point that people were speculating and we kept being told that, nope, Carson Wentz hasn't asked for his a trade. Yeah. He still wants to play for the city of Philadelphia. He's talking to head coach Nick Sirianni. Bullshit. Because I said birds, beers, and bullshit. Because good old Carson obviously checked out. He knew there and then that he did not want to play for this franchise anymore. I feel whether Doug was here or not, he wanted out. And that comment just proved the point, which irritates the hell out of me as a fan, because this is a guy that we always, we're a tough city. We're a tough fan base. We want our football team to play well. And we want them to go out there and succeed. But with that comment, that just shows that you somewhat gave up on us.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. 100%.
Why don't you go out there and compete with Ertz? If you feel you're a better court, and that just proves that you cannot handle competition, and that's why you're soft. And hopefully, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the same mentality and the same mindset.
Nah, Jalen Hurts is a fighter, bro. This Jalen Hurts is a fighter.
And I know people are going to say, well, he left Oklahoma or Alabama for Oklahoma or whatever.
That's business.
That's different. Yeah. College athletes, the only way you're going to get noticed or get drafted high is by playing and being a starter. So if you lose your starting job and they're going to go with someone else, of course you're going to transfer. The NFL is a freaking different story. You signed a contract, and unless the team releases you or trades you for some reason, you're going to go out there and fight week in and week out for your job. And that's one thing that I know Nick Sirianni has instilled in this, hopefully in this locker room, that because I know in his introductory press conference, the one thing he said is that every position is up for grabs. And that's what you want to do. And I feel that competition brings the best out in people.
I agree. I totally agree. Carson Wentz is a pussy.
Pretty much. I wish him the best. Whatever. Get us that first round pick. I don't wish any ill will on him, but the Carson Wentz saga and the talk of Carson Wentz in the city of Philadelphia, we can officially shut and never speak of again. He is no longer an Eagle. Let's stop talking about him, and let's move on to the quarterback that is on this roster, and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I agree.
But I would say once again, we do appreciate everyone that has tuned in to Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network, exclusively on our YouTube channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all our media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Hit that like button and also write a comment here on our YouTube channel under the show. Tell us what you think of the program. As always, Peanut, myself, Eagle Jeff Warner. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Warner NFL. And then you can also follow All About the Birds on all our platforms. Again, AAT Birds. Yes. And check out the website, www.aatbirds.com.
You could also follow
I don't know what you named him.
Party Doll Dave. He's on Twitter at Party Doll Dave. He's been feeding us a lot of information telepathically the whole time. It's great.
And again, we want to thank all our sponsors, the Hair Connection in Allentown. Make sure to check them out at thehairconnections.com. Once again, thehairconnections.com. That's with an X. They are at the same shopping plaza as Vinny's Pizza. So make sure to check them out for all your hair, body, and beauty needs. The women over there are great. They do a great job on your hair if you're from the local area. If you're not local, check the website. There's a bunch of beauty products and hair products that you can buy from that help improve your I don't know what to determine your
beauty.
Yeah, your beauty. There we go. I'm sorry, you didn't give me copy points.
It's all good.
I'll say we would like to thank them, and then we also would like again thank Vinny's Pizza, as I mentioned before, for their great sponsorship and for supporting us here at Birds, Beers, and BS.
Yes, sir.
Give them a follow on Facebook, and also you can check out their website, vinnyspizzapa.com. They are located at 6750 Iroquois Trail, Suite 7 in Allentown at the Old Town Shops over there off of Iroquois Trail. Phone number is 610-395-2300. March Madness is going on right now. You want to buy some pizzas. I'll say it's delicious food. So tell the guys all over there that the Birds, Beers, and BS crew sent you over. They'll take good care of you. So make sure to support them. By supporting our sponsors, you're supporting us. And we appreciate everyone that has come out here to help us as we look to improve the All About the Birds network. And then we would also like to thank, I would say, Peanut, if you want to discuss or talk about your brother's for being a sponsor, his business venture.
Yeah, Rams. Yo, shout out my brother Angel Rivera. If you ever have any audio issues or whatever, you can check out Rams. And next week, actually, we'll have his thing up so that we have all the information. But bro, I love you. Thank you for supporting. Other than that, man, I'm good, man.
Cool. I'll say, any final thoughts before we get out here on another great episode of Birds, Beers, and BS?
Wait, before we go out, next week, you better watch Justice League, because me and Jeffrey are going to sit here and we're going to give you our full, like, nondescript isn't a good word. Full spoiler alert review of Justice League.
Okay, we can't go spoiler.
No, we gotta go.
No, we can't.
All right, we'll do tip of spoiler.
Because not everyone has HBO Max.
Okay, fair enough.
So I was, or if not everyone does, I would say they might be holding off. They might. I would say, is it going to release in movie theaters again, or is this it?
No, this is it. It's HBO Max.
Okay, maybe we'll get
ask me for my password. I got y'all.
I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. The fact that I heard it's great, but 4 hours?
We'll wait. 4
hours? I understand it's in different parts, but...
We'll wait, because I have a lot to say about it.
I love superhero movies, and apparently this, I would say, with the uncut Zack Snyder version, it makes the movie a lot better. It fills a lot of gaps that the original production did not fill, and left you second guessing things. So I still have to sit down and find the time with a baby, working, and doing 4 or 5 podcasts a week. I haven't had time. So.
I hear you. You can watch it at my house.
There we go. But once again, we would thank you everyone for tuning in to Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network. From Peanut, myself, Eagle Jeff Warner. Follow me on Twitter at Jeff Warner NFL. Follow our website at aatbirds.com. If you want to write for us, hit me up. We always are looking for more writers, not just on the Eagles, but any type of sport, any Philadelphia sport, college, whatever you would like to write about. We have a platform for you. So from Peanut, myself, thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another great program.
Yes, sir.
Of All About the Birds, Birds, Beers, and BS.
Salud.